Good morning. My dreams were so beautiful this morning. I basically just had one long dream, even though I got up, go to the bathroom, go back to bed, go right back into the same dream. It changed a lot throughout the dream. So I was a woman that I think traveled to Spain to be a tutor for a family's children or a governess type of job, like an in-home governess thing. And they were a fairly well-to-do family, and I don't know if this was Spain. It was just like the family was Spanish, and they talked about features that I am aware of that are in Spain, but I'm not super familiar with the landscape of Spain, so I don't know how accurate my dream was. But they lived out in the country, and there was actually a lot of different kinds of landscapes. They had a lot of what looked like pine trees, and there was a really dense forest. And the son of this family, or one of the sons, one of the older sons, maybe even the oldest, had a helicopter and wanted to take me on a helicopter tour. But he had a really pompous attitude, and I didn't trust his skill, and my character felt like she couldn't say no, but that made me go lucid a little bit. And so I declined the helicopter ride because I was quite sure that we were going to crash. And I saw, like, in the dream, the character that I was had a premonition, and she saw um, treetops, like lots of treetops, and everything was very, very foggy. So it was, I could tell that the helicopter was much too close to the treetops, and the driver, or the the pilot, was being too daring, trying to get a view that's better, and was just being reckless trying to get this view, especially in the weather. And it was so foggy. There's just too much of a chance that you could snag a tree and then crash to your death. But the vision was really cool because it was this helicopter bird's eye view of all these treetops in the mist. It was really beautiful, but thinking that that would be your seat was terrifying. Um, and the kids were fairly nice, just kind of like typical kids with typical kid problems, poor sportsmanship, and a lack of wanting to share things, being sore losers. And it was my character's job to teach these children how to be better sportsmen and how to share and just be decent human beings. Um, they could already speak English, and so I don't know. I was supposed to teach them English, but in my dream we were all speaking English, so I don't know. They had a beautiful house. There were, I saw lots of farmer fields on the way to this mansion that they lived in. Lots of people had cow farms, so there's a couple of ranches. And then my character fell in love with, it was either a son or it was a cousin that the family had basically adopted as their son. I think that's what it was, because he didn't look like them at all. He had very curly, frizzy hair, and looked just slightly different than the rest of the family. Similar, but just, I could tell, like, okay, you're related, but you're not siblings. And he was very much an artist, tortured soul type. He actually reminded me a lot of, what's his name? Russell Brand. He was like a Spanish version of Russell Brand. So they fell in love, and there was like a budding romance throughout the dream between them. And the dream progressed, and into my favorite part of the dream, the family had gone to this community place that they often go to, and it was maybe it was a country club, but it was so much more than that. It was massively huge. There was a main building that was massive, like a massive fancy hotel with marble everything and giant fountains and courtyards with manicured strange shaped bushes and fountains and water features that you could swim in and kids would play in. There was like live entertainment, and there were waiters and waitresses serving various things in various spots, and it looked like it would have been a king and queen's castle with the courtyard, but it was very crowded with very rich, fancy people, and it was definitely in a secluded type of place, so you had to be vetted to go in there. And I was just walking around enjoying this beautiful place, thinking, wow, this is amazing. And I was partially lucid only a few times. I remember thinking, I wonder if there's any place that really looks like this. I certainly would be able to get in there, even if there was, because it looks like the place that you'd have to be at least a millionaire to be invited to a place like this. This is so cool. So even if it does exist, I'll never be able to get to it, but this is such a cool experience. The garden features were just amazing, and I felt really lucky to even have that dream experience. There were every kind of flower, every kind of sculpture, and the people were actually fairly pleasant. A lot of them, I could tell, were a little stuck up and old-fashioned, but they weren't too bad. And that was pretty much the dream. It was just me exploring this beautiful, beautiful garden and enjoying it. And I woke up and I wasn't able to go back to sleep at some point, probably around 7:30 a.m. And yeah, that's it. That's all I'm going to say, because I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes long so I can get out and pump some iron. So yeah, that was it. I got a few spots of lucidity. Oh, I do think that character that I remembered more. I just remembered more. I went swimming suit shopping with the family and to go to this place. They were going to spend like an entire month there because it was like a summer tradition. When it's too hot to stay at your home, you go to this fancy resort place and you stay there for part or the whole summer. And that was the thing. And so they were buying like entire new wardrobes to go to this place, and it was really fun to go swimming suit shopping. And this really fancy like personal shopper type of place, and there was a whole bunch of sisters. I mean, this family had like 13 or 14 children, plus the cousin that was also called their son. And so I was with, I don't know, 5, 6, maybe 7 girls from probably about 9 to 17 or 18, and it was fun shopping with them. And at one point, the dream got confused, and my character was trying on swimming suits, and I think her name kept switching back between Kate and Alma. I remember that. And I tried on the swimming suit, and I was going to go show the sisters, like, hey, what do you think of this one? And I went out the dressing room door, and then all of a sudden I walked out, and I was in this like little car, and it was driving along the country road, and I noticed it was passing the cattle ranches that I saw earlier in the dream. And I was like, oh no, I lost the dream. I really want to return back to that other dream because there was a romance going on. I was finding awesome swimming suits, and the family was really cool. And I I almost panicked because I didn't want to lose the dream, and I thought I was going to lose the dream. And although I was aware it was a dream and I was in the car, I couldn't figure out how to steer the car there, or like drive back or get back. And so I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And there was no steering wheel. So I tried with all my might, with my lucid powers, and I thought, okay, I'm going to make a way to steer this car, since I haven't got to a point where I can just snap my fingers and make a gun appear in my hand, or snap my fingers and make a steering wheel just magically appear as is. I have to, when I become lucid, I have to creatively create a solution. So instead of just being like, I'm lucid, therefore thing, I have to be, all right, I'm lucid, I need this thing, so this shampoo bottle is going to be my weapon. It's going to be a bomb or a gun, and then because I'm lucid, I can make that thing be the object that I need it to be. So I'm trying to figure out how to steer this thing so I can drive back to the place. And I noticed there's like this indentation in the dashboard, and I go, aha, I'm gonna make this somehow a steering wheel. And so I push down on this indentation and it clicks in and pops out. And so I take this lid off and out pops this, it looks like a shifter stick. But I'm like, okay, I can make this the steering wheel, and it works. And this was extra awesome because usually when I have a dream, and lots of people when they dream about cars, they can't control it. So this was great. The steering was working, the brakes were working, and that was all hunky-dory and great. So I'm steering around, and then I turn the car around, and for some reason I can't get, there's no road. So I'm like, okay, well then I'm gonna drive through the field and I'm gonna make a road there. So I turn my attention towards the field, and there are muddy tracks through the dried yellow grass, and there's water in the tracks, like some farm vehicle had driven back and forth in the middle of the field. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this the road back to the shop so I can find the family that I work for again. So I drive through that, and it's all bumpy and stuff, and I almost get distracted from my mission because I come to this like ancient ruins of some old, could have been someone's old cold storage from the turn of the century or older, or like even 200 or 300 years ago. It had big vines growing over it, and it was a cave, and I kind of wish I would have gone in the cave instead of continuing on this dream. But the character in the dream felt so connected to the family and to the person she was falling in love with. Her heart / my heart was so drawn back to the original dream. And I felt, me kind of being like, there might be something really cool in that dream. Maybe there's a snake to talk to. Maybe there's a book to read. Maybe the Akashic records are in there. Those are the type of things that happen in those places when I rarely get to go to them. But that pull from that character was just too strong. And she was a cute little Latina girl. And so it was cool that I love it when I have dreams where I'm a different race or a different gender. It's super interesting. So I was kind of fighting with that character's inner self and then my inner self, and the draw from that character won. And so I'm like, no, I guess we're gonna keep driving. So because dream logic, I was standing outside of the cave / ruins, whatever it was. And then when I decided that I wanted to still continue on to that other dream, I was magically back in the car driving on the road. And then I was like, oh, I'm here. And then from the car, I was magically back in the dressing room trying things on. And I was like, oh, wow, I did it. So that was really cool. And then I was able to from there find my wardrobe, shop with the sisters, and then the dream scene changed and we were at that fancy courtyard place. That's pretty cool. All right, that's it. Okay, see you guys later. You can find me at Beneath the Roses on Instagram. Bye.